The streets are talking. You are now listening to The Box Out, Tri-State area basketball talk at its best. And now your hosts, Kahlil Thomas and Jason Cordner. Let's get it.
From NJ to BK and the world, is The Box Out here on the One Podcast Network. My name is Kahlil Thomas. Joining me in just a few minutes will be Jason Cordner from Brooklyn, New York. What is going on, everybody? Back again. It will be a truncated show because, to be honest, besides WNBA, and there's a lot to get into with WNBA, it's kind of a dead week. Not going to lie to you guys. It is a dead week. We're not really close, kind of close to NBA training camp. WNBA playoff start, I think, next week. So it's been a slow news week, with the exception of some WNBA stuff that we're going to talk about first. There's a big contract extension NBA, and we're going to talk college and talk about conference realignment, which is still continuing, and a resurrection for a conference that was torn apart this past season. So we'll get to that at the very end. But let's start with the WNBA as our opening tip of tonight's show. And we love the WNBA here on this show. Since the show started 7 years ago? 8 years ago? You know, Jason and I, we talk WNBA pretty much every week during the season. And it's something that we enjoy. I think you could almost say we kind of enjoy it more than the NBA at times because the skill is so much higher in WNBA, and we just love it. Liberty people, I know Jason covers Liberty regularly, and we've seen the growth of this league since this podcast started back in the Double G Sports days on Blog Talk Radio. It was just audio. We've seen the growth, and I felt like we've kind of been part of that growth, seeing it get to this point. We love seeing where it is right now. With that said, there's been some controversy this season when it comes to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Now, obviously, you have two very talented women who made their bones in college. LSU for Reese, Iowa for Clark, and there was a rivalry that was created in college that is carried over to the pros and the WNBA. Now, the problem with this rivalry, and I love it because I think it adds something to the league. Every league needs some type of rivalry. And if we look at the NBA, there's been a lot of comparisons to Larry Bird and Magic Johnson when they both came out of college. They played each other in the national championship game in college. Indiana State for Bird, Michigan State for Magic. They went to the NBA. They automatically started competing for championships against each other and winning. One wins 1 year, another wins another year. Rivalries are what makes sports, right? We talk about college rivalries, right? We talk about Texas A&M, Oregon State. I would say Rutgers, Penn State, but that's not a rivalry because they are nowhere near each other. But in colleges, rivalries are what make college sports pop. In pro sports, you don't really have that anymore. You don't have that like, oh, I'm going to throw the record books out when these two teams face each other. That's not a thing. Now that we have Clark and Reese, this rivalry is kind of taking on a tone. And I'm not going to say every fan of both players are wrong, and but there is a segment of fans who have equated this rivalry not so much of basketball and not of skills against the other skills and made a best person win. It has taken a turn of vile, just hateful shit since they first faced off in the NCAA tournament a couple years ago. That's where we are right now. There's been a race component to this rivalry since it started. Obviously, Angel Reese seems to be the villain in this rivalry. Caitlin Clark seems to be the hero to many people, and it's taken on racial overtones of the Dave Portnoys and the Clay Travises of Fox News, making it that way, making it a racial thing, racial issue, making that a big component of the rivalry. And we know all about the rivalry. We know about some of the nasty shit that's come out during this rivalry. The WNBA loves it because Caitlin Clark's record ratings, record attendance, Angel Reese setting rebounding records before she got hurt and ended her season. The WNBA loves this because it keeps people talking. The person who loves it the most is WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, who was on CNBC a couple days ago, and someone asked her about not just the rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, but the tone that it kind of elicits from fans and, race and sexuality and how it's all part of this conversation. And she was asked about it, the WNBA commissioner, and she gave not an answer about it, but she went on, and here's what she said when she was asked the question. I want to give her benefit of the doubt and give her the quote to the answer to the question that was asked by the CNBC anchor. So instead of addressing the vitriol of the rivalry, she responded with, "But the one thing I know about sports is you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another." Okay. Really didn't answer the question. So are you like, that's your answer, Commissioner? That's your overarching answer is, hey, rivalries are great. We love them. It's good stuff. What? It was a tone deaf answer, and I know what she tried to do. It's what most commissioners in major sports do. They don't want to come out and give her answer. They don't want to come out and make any waves. They want to just be safe. So instead of going into the topic and saying, hey, we know that this rivalry elicits emotion, but you know what kind of emotion we don't want? Racist, sexist, vitriolic garbage. We have two women who are very talented, and you know what? That rivalry is awesome for our game, but we don't want that in our league. That's the answer you give. That's the answer you want to hear from your commissioner, not, hey, it's great. We love it. Great ratings, great attendance. And essentially, that's what she said without saying it. Rivalries are great. WNBA attendance is up. WNBA ratings are up. This is good for our sport. All the vitriolic shit, we love it. It is great for us. And that's essentially what she said. Now, needless to say, that was not taken well by the WNBA and their union, who said, and I'm going to bring this up and give their quote exactly as well, because I think it was a really good quote and a very good response. Can't find it. Women's National Basketball Player Association Director Terry Jackson released a statement Tuesday night rebuking Engelbert's comments. Here is the answer that the commissioner should have provided to the very clear question regarding the racism, misogyny, and harassment experienced by the players. There's absolutely no place in sport or in life for the vile hate, racist language, homophobic comments, and the misogynistic attacks our players are facing on social media. This is not about rivalries or iconic personalities fueling a business model. This kind of toxic fandom should never be tolerated or left unchecked. It demands immediate action and, frankly, should have been addressed long ago. Jackson's statement went on to celebrate the spike in fandom and added, fandom should lift up the game, not tear down the very people who bring it to life. That's a damn good answer. Not from the commissioner, though. That came from the WNBA players rep. So you have a commissioner who, and I talked about this when the deal was announced with the new TV contract that was kind of bundled up with the NBA contract that they negotiated. The WNBA should have really had their own negotiation window and should have really did their own thing when it came to the TV deal. They got a really good deal. $200 million a year with an opt-out after the third season of the deal. It's a great deal. I'm of the impression that if you didn't bundle it with the NBA and said, we're going to go and step out on our own and go about our own way and just see what happens. I believe to this day that if they did that, I think they would have got more than $200 million a year. And you could use this year as a litmus test. I think based on this season and the popularity of the league and where it is now, I feel like you can say, hey, we're making great strides in attendance. We're making great strides in our ratings with Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, the New York Liberty dominating, the Vegas Aces coming on, the Connecticut Sun doing their thing. We have really a lot of good young players in this league. We have a lot of old grizzled vets like Tina Charles still out here kicking and showing these young players how to play. We deserve top dollar for our programming. They could have said that, and they would have got it. So I'm already coming from the place that Engelbert already messed up and had a kind of a misstep in not going on their own regarding the TV deal. That's one. This just creates another issue, right? I think Cheryl Miller said it, I think either before or after the WNBA All-Star game that, she heard the number that they got for TV and she said, oh, it should have been more. So you already have players, not just current players, but, former players who didn't even play WNBA. Cheryl Miller was long retired by the time the WNBA started, but she's a legend in women's basketball who said, we should have got more money. Why didn't we do more? Why couldn't we have gotten more? It's a valid question. So you already have that kind of hanging over the head of Cathy Engelbert already. Now you have this. You have a commissioner who's only interested in the growth of the game and not the other parts of it. And in the WNBA, who is probably one of the most socially conscious leagues in sports, to not address it, to not address what's been going on this season in WNBA between, Caitlin Clark fans and Angel Reese fans is malpractice. It's PR malpractice. It is her responsibility to go out and say, we appreciate the loyalty, we appreciate the fandom, we appreciate the increased eyes on our product. But what we don't agree with is how some of you show your fandom and how some of you show the pride you have for your favorite players. And we appreciate it if you knock that shit off. That's what she should have said. We appreciate the extra eyes watching some of the best women's basketball players in the world. Some of the best, not just women, some of the best basketball players in the world playing this great sport. But some of you are pieces of garbage. And we don't want your money. And we don't want you coming to our games. We don't want you watching us if you're going to be like that. You're a piece of garbage who's going to do that. We don't need you. That's what she should have said. And she chose not to. And I think that is a huge, huge misstep that can she recover from? She needs to sit down with Terry Jackson. She needs to sit down with Asia Wilson and Breonna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu and Tina Charles and Agubawale, Jewel Lloyd, the stars of your league, and say, hey, and Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, let's not forget them because they're the big piece of this whole puzzle. Hey, I messed up. This is what I should have said. I messed up. It's on me. My apologies. How can we get past this? And she will, because she knows at the end of the day, I think she likes her job. I think she appreciates the job she has. And she doesn't want to lose that job. So hopefully she comes to her senses, and hopefully she figures out that, hey, I messed up and it's on me to fix it. So we'll see what happens with that, and if that works. I'm going to take a quick 30-second break. We'll come back. We'll talk WNBA playoff picture. There's one spot remaining, and there's 3 teams going for it. It's coming down to the wire. Back in 30 seconds here on the Box Out on the One Podcast Network. And we're back here on the Box Out here on the One Podcast Network. Kahlil Thomas. Jason Court, I think, is held up right now, so it's going to be me riding solo. Maybe he'll come in. We'll see. Like I said, truncated show. It's been kind of a slow news week, so this was not going to be an hour show anyway. So let's keep it moving. WNBA Playoff Picture. And right now, we have 7 spots right now. Hey, JT, what's going on? Oh, wait, I think I got Jason here. Jason popped in. We'll bring him in 1 second. And I see his background already. Jay, I love the background. Love it. What's up, Jay?
Not much, man. Sorry about the little technical difficulties. How's everything going?
Good, man. Listen, I love what you do. I'm assuming you're at work.
Yep.
You're at work. You're like, that's that New York City background. It's like that Zoom background you got behind you right now.
Right. Yep.
So the first segment of the show, the first 15 minutes, I talked about Cathy Engelbert, the commissioner, and how it was a big PR mess up. What were your thoughts about what she said? And, how much trouble is she really in with this?
I think because of just the nature of the timing with the playoffs looming, I think she's going to be in a lot of trouble. I think the product is probably going to succeed what everything she was saying and the trouble that she caused. But I think after the playoffs is where we're going to really see the hammer come down on her, not before.
So you think her job is kind of in jeopardy based on the non-comment she made in the comments?
Yeah, but not now. Though. I think we're going to ride it out till the end of the playoffs.
Yeah, I was saying it. I wasn't surprised at what she said because she's a commissioner, and she's going to deflect. She's going to pivot to positive. She's not going to focus on a negative. And unfortunately, there's some, and I said it before, there's some vile pieces of shit out there who are just starting like Clay Travis from Outkick and Portnoy from Barstool, and they're all about that life. And they're all in on this. So it was on her to comment on it, and she did not. And I think that was a big mistake on her part to say. And the statement she made after the fact, which was, and I got to read it, to be clear, there's absolutely no place for that hate or racism of any kind in the WNBA or any place else. That was the day after. That's what you say live on air, not after the fact. Everybody shitting on you. So I think
I'm pretty sure someone else had to write that for her.
Yeah, that was definitely a PR, the WNBA PR or her own PR. We don't know, writing that statement. But the fact that you don't talk about it, like and everybody knows it. It's not like this new thing that like, oh my God, people are like crazy about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and there's race in this. Like I compared it to Bird and Magic, and obviously, we weren't around for that. I asked my dad about it. He's like, there really was no race. There wasn't really a race element to Bird and Magic. It was just like there was a rivalry, but they were bad boys and they were good.
Yeah.
But race wasn't really a major part of it. I think maybe because of the climate that we're in, I think race has kind of came into everything all of a sudden into this point. And
which is kind of crazy if you think about it. There was no race back then because we knew, just like how it was now with these ladies. They were rivals in college. They got to the pros, became rivals in the pros. But it really wasn't a race element until like others got involved, like Isaiah Thomas and the Pistons and those guys. They made their comments. But even then, it really wasn't like a backhanded comment. It's like, hey, and then everyone acknowledged that Bird was a great player. Everyone is acknowledging Caitlin's a great player. As the same for Angel Reese. So it's one of those things where like I think both of them are having successful rookie campaign. The league's only going to get better from this, and for the commissioner to drop the ball is very. Can you imagine Stern back in the days when something like this happened?
No,
it wouldn't happen.
Stern and Silver. I don't think Silver's had a big misstep yet. I think he's had a few little ones.
Yeah,
during his turn, but for the most part, I think he's kind of turned into like the prototypical really good players commissioner.
I mean, he's his first major thing was Donald Sterling, right? That was his first major task in the job, and he handled that right out the park. He knocked it out the park. But you're right, he hasn't had major missteps like this. But like Stern would have never said what he would have hammered this. He would definitely handle the situation a lot better.
Oh, definitely. Bruce, what's going on, bruh? These days, you have to be transparent when it comes to social issues in a professional basketball league. I said it in the WNBA, which might be the most socially aware sports league in this country, for the commissioner not to do her job in that way was shocking. And hearing Stewie talk about it after the game last night, and the other night, I think, and hearing the Players Association union rep lay into her and actually give a statement of what she should have said that was longer than the sentence that I read 2 minutes ago. Right. It was crazy. So, and you're already on this thing of where people thought that you kind of got lowballed by bundling your TV deal with the NBA. So you already kind of had like that shakiness of that. On top of this, she's just digging her own grave right now.
Yeah, it's like I said, I don't think nothing's gonna happen before the WNBA finals, but once those things wrap up, and all the tension's going right back on her.
Yep, and well deserved. WNBA playoff picture. There's 8 spots, 7 are filled. So right now in this order, Liberty, the Lynx, the Sun, Aces, Storm, Fever, Mercury have the top 7 spots. There's 1 spot remaining in between the Sky, the Dream, and surprisingly enough, the Mystics, who I thought were dead about 3 weeks ago. They've kind of made their run. Right now, Chicago's in the 8th spot. They're 13-23, which sounds like the Eastern Conference from 10 years ago. Atlanta's 12-24. Washington's also 12-24. I think all 3 teams have 2 games left. Who's going to get this 8th spot, especially now Chicago losing Angel Reese for the rest of the season? Is it their spot, or do you think? I think the Dream is surging at the right time. I think they might overtake Chicago, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think Atlanta's going to get that spot. I think Chicago is probably going to drop one of the 2, but I think I can see Atlanta finishing off strong, winning the last 2 games.
Well, I think the Chicago sounded great, and so Angel Reese announced, I think it's a hairline fracture of her forearm or wrist or something like that. And then you think back to the trade of them trading Marina Mabry, and I'm like, that was a dumb move. So now you need
scoring right now.
Yep. Yeah, you need scoring. Obviously, the rebounding, you're going to lose all the rebounding with Angel Reese going down. But you need some scoring now because you're losing 13 points off the top. You trade your best shooter who's averaging like 15 points a game for like nothing, and now you're stuck. So I think Chicago dug their own grave when they traded Mabry before the Olympic break. So I think Atlanta, Washington, it's scary because I was so sure that once Deladon retired or took the year off or whatever she's doing, I was like, yeah, Washington's shot. And early this season, they looked like garbage.
They look like the worst team in the league for a long time. They look like the worst team in the league for a long time.
And now they're fighting for a spot. Mabry did ask to be traded. Bruce is right. But do you really have to make trade? Like, listen, owners never make trade players like that. Like, you want me traded? Nah, I'm good. Like, you ain't going nowhere. But I think Chicago's going to be out. And I think the Reese injury really is going to hurt Chicago in the long run for this spot.
But at the end of the day, put the draft stock will be high or mid-tier, and we'll see what happens with there.
The Sparks in Dallas, they've been eliminated. The Sparks, and we talked about the Sparks before. The Sparks is that weird team that was trying to rebuild and compete at the same time, which in the history of sports, shit never works. Never, ever works. So Bruce is chiming in. Mystics and Dream play against each other, and the Dream play in the Sky in one game. So essentially, they're playing each other for that one spot. You're picking Atlanta, correct?
I'm picking Atlanta. Yep.
I'm picking Atlanta, so I think Atlanta gets in. So LA doesn't know what they're doing. Dallas is shocking because Dallas, every year I pick Dallas. Every year they disappoint me. So I'm going to stop doing this shit every year and picking Dallas to be like my surprise team in the WNBA. I'm like, this is the year they get past the Aces. I said that to you, and I'm like, I do that every year. Like, God, what is wrong with me?
You know what that makes Dallas, right? They're the new Liberty.
The new Liberty. Actually, they're the new Sacramento Kings for me. The Kings are my team every year. I'm like, Sacramento this year. They got it. On luck right now. On luck. Speaking of, did you get 2K?
I didn't get it yet.
I got it.
Okay.
I played one game. I always play. My first game in 2K is always the Liberty.
Okay.
So I picked the Liberty, and my dumb ass, I picked the Sun. The Sun smoked my ass. I'm like, why didn't I pick the Sparks? Why did I got to compete against the second best team in the league? Like, but it looks good. I didn't get the big edition with the NBA League Pass. That was too much money.
Yeah, I'm not doing the League Pass because every game's on television anyway.
Yeah, I know. Ask James Dolan. He's not happy about that shit either. So we're coming down to the wire. Playoffs start next week. We'll be all over it. The Liberty hit 30 wins after their win in Dallas the other night. So they're at 30-6. 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 4 in a row. Is this the year? And I'm asking this every week because I feel like every week I feel like it could be, and then we stop the show, and then it's not. Is this the year that Liberty finally wins that WNBA championship?
I would hope so. I think I have a few question marks. One of them will probably be, well, I don't know. Well, they're probably not even playing for anything, but I will be at the game Sunday against the Lynx. I want to see the first half of that game just to give an idea, because as much as it pains me, and I text you during the game against the Aces, that's their hump they got to get over. I think someone else knocks out the Aces. So that lets me wonder, can the Liberty finish the job this year if the Aces are not in their way? If they got to worry about the Suns or the Lynx, can they handle business? And I want to say I'm 60% saying I think they can. I got to see what the depth looks like in terms of the front line. Other than that, this is probably their best shot at the title by far, ever.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like I think Benaja Lady Hamilton getting hurt the other night was probably not a good thing. I think she's going to be fine, but she hurt the same knee that she got surgery on. So that was scary when she was down. I was like, oh, God, because they really need her. They really need that third scorer. You have Stewie, you have Sabrina. You need a third one. I think Jonquel Jones could be that third, but I feel like you don't want to depend on Jonquel Jones to try to give you 20 points a game.
And you definitely need somebody coming off the second unit.
Yeah, which they still kind of don't have. Favorites could be that person. I think she's been playing really, really well. And I think, and Bruce is in the chat, because Bruce has always got to mention Courtney Vandersloot. I think Favorites is taking time from Vandersloot, which is actually
that's a good thing.
Because you only give Vandersloot 17, 18 minutes a game, so you don't really have to put her out there and have her play these crazy minutes, because you have a competent backup point guard who can play those minutes. And you can put Sabrina at the point and not put the pressure on Vandersloot to run the offense all the time. Yep. And Sabrina can do both. She can be off the ball and on the ball. Wow, I think Bruce has made his prediction. The chip is Minnesota's to lose. They did win the Commissioner's Cup.
I think they only got that because Liberty's making them play a back-to-back, which is just retarded.
Yeah, well, right now, Liberty are playing Dallas. They're still in Dallas. They know how to do the back-to-backs. 32-21 in the second quarter. Game is currently on Prime. I'm kind of sick of Prime because I forget things are on Prime, and I just don't
Wait. So the Prime is doing multiple tasks tonight? They're doing the Liberty and football?
Yep. Let's see that shit crash tonight. I'm excited about that one. I'm curious about your thoughts on A'ja Wilson, because there's some conversation about whether she is the best player in the WNBA right now, currently. Do you think we can put that on her and say you're the best player in the WNBA right now?
Yes, I think it's fair. I think she's definitely ascended. She's definitely passed Stewie in that role. I would put her as the best. I think she's been the best player in the league for the last 2 seasons, actually. So I think it's a fitting role for her. Yep, 100%.
So is she your MVP this season?
She's the MVP. Hands down, she's MVP.
I agree. Obviously, there's people close to her, but I think A'ja Wilson, what she's doing this year, she's definitely the MVP of this league. And, listen, the championship runs through Vegas. It runs through Asia Wilson. It runs through Kelsey Plum. It runs through the Wash, Chelsea Gray, that Bruce mentioned in the chat. You got to beat them first. And I think the Liberty this year has that mindset and knows that, hey, we have to get through them to get that title. And I think they're ready. I'm going to put it out there now. I think they're ready to make that move.
I think they're ready, but I don't think they see them. I think the Suns or the Lynx are going to be the team to take the Aces out.
I really hope so. I'm waiting for a Bruce comment. Hold on. It's coming up. Because Bruce always got something slick to say. I got to see what Bruce said. While we wait for this to cut, Asia has to score because Plum and Young have been bad since Olympic return. I think we talked about this last week. I think the Olympics, that break, I think really threw the Aces off a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's helped the Liberty, but hurt Vegas more than anyone else.
I agree. Definitely. That rhythm is just not there. But I thought Plum played well against the Liberty, though.
Yeah, she really. I think. Listen, if Plum does not play well, I think that's going to be a problem. Plum she has to have her 15, 20 points a game and have her 6 assists, and she has to play a good game, especially without Darren Waller being around, because that was a drain on her. That was just the anchor she was carrying around. NBA news real quick. Jamal Murray, 4-year, $208 million max contract. I put in our preview whether he's worth $208 million. And I think it's a subjective question. Is anybody worth $65 million a year like Steph is getting? But how important is Jamal Murray to the Nuggets and Nikola Jokic?
I think he's important. He's definitely an important cog in that wheel. So I guess giving him that extension and securing your nucleus of him and Jokic going down the line, it's probably a good thing. Do I think he's worth that? I don't think any player is worth a certain number. But if that's what the market's dictating, that's what the market's dictating. But I think to keep your core intact in a crowded Western Conference was probably the best business for Denver to do.
I think you said. I think they lost so many players.
So many players
since the championship team. And I thought they were almost forced to pay him this money and then give him a max deal because you got to keep Jokic, you got to keep Murray, you got to keep Aaron Gordon. And those are the three. And hope that you can build around them. You're not going to have any money to spend money. So you kind of have to hope that you hit on, low budget free agents and some rookies at some point. I think it's a risky move paying Aaron. They're going to have to pay Aaron Gordon at some point. I think his contract's up this year. You pay Murray. You're going to play Jokic. And Jokic might just say, fuck it, I'm going home and just quit basketball at any time.
But now, are you going to have enough money to re-sign Porter down the line? Is he going to be your Hartenstein? Are you going to sacrifice his minutes and his contributions because you just can't afford it?
I mean, I feel like them letting Caldwell Pope go, letting Bruce Brown go. Yep. I think they're setting up like we're going to struggle, and we know we're going to struggle, but we want to bring these guys back. And they're cognizant. I want to bring up their payroll real quick just to see what they're working with. So there's a lot of money already being thrown around. 24-25, they're going to have the 7th highest payroll in the NBA. Let's go through it. Jokic is signed through 27-28, 51.4 this year, 55.2 next year, 59, 26-27, and it's a player option for 62.8 in 27-28. Murray's 36, 46, 50, 53, 57. Michael Porter's 35, 38, and 40. Aaron Gordon's 22.8 this year, and he has a 22.8 option next year. Besides that, Sarge is only making 3. DeAndre Jordan's making 3. Westbrook's making 3. Christian Braun's making 3. That's really it. So your money's invested into 4 players if you count Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter. So you're depending on those 4 guys and Russell Westbrook, which Bruce is saying, those bricks going to be piling up in the mountains to kind of get you through and play big minutes the entire season. Can they pull that off?
It'll be tough, but I still think they're a top 6 team in the West, regardless, with Jokic.
I'm looking at the rest of his name, like Deron Holmes, Julian Strawther, Ritako Kankar, Peyton Watson, Jalen Pickett, Hunter Tyson, and then a bunch of guys.
Wait, so quick question. So the new TV deal goes in effect the season after next, right?
Yes.
And we're probably looking at expansion in 2 to 3 seasons, right?
Silver hasn't said it, but yeah, I think you're in that zone.
So do you think what the Knicks did with Brunson, we might start seeing more of that between now and next season, where people are signing less on the extension, waiting for the bigger money to come in, and at the same time seem to help their situation compete?
I think what Brunson did was not so much set up for the future. I think he did that genuinely, like, I'm trying to win. I think you might see more guys do that and say, you look at the NFL. Mahomes signed this big contract that's obviously completely obsolete now. Look at what Dak got. But he gives money back and say, we need guys, okay, take $20 million, take that off the top, put that in the workout bonus. Tom Brady did that for like a decade, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like you're going to get to that point where players might not take all the money like Steph did or that LeBron does. I really think that players are going to start thinking long-term and start thinking legacy. Brunson's like legacy at this point.
Second part to that question real quick. Do you think guys like Murray and them are taking this money because they're cool with the one and done? They're cool with getting that one ring, so they're not on that list of players who don't have a ring. Because look what's going to happen with like the Celtics, for example. They got their ring now, and they got their money. I don't think they're going to be satisfied with one ring, but I think guys like Murray, I think guys like Jokic. I won't even say I'll say Jokic. I think Giannis going forward, he might scale back because he wants more than just that one.
Yeah, I think you get that one. I think that's a complacency issue when you get a one, right? Because back in the day, one wasn't enough.
It was not enough.
Magic didn't want one. Isaiah didn't want one. Jordan didn't want one. Bird definitely didn't want one. Mm-hmm. I think it's a different mindset now where one is good enough because I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame and got my ring. Because a lot of guys get in the Hall of Fame anyway without rings.
Right.
So to get the ring is like, oh, cool. That's just an extra accolade to put on my Hall of Fame plaque.
Random part, speaking about no rings, had no idea Dominique had a statue in front of the State Farm Arena when I passed it 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh, he has a statue there. Didn't know that.
I will say this about Dominique Wilkins. He was top 10 player in the NBA for about 4 years running. But the guys they put around him, absolute garbage. Complete garbage. Like, what was? Oh God, there was a Hawks game on a couple weeks ago on NBA TV. I was watching for a hot minute. Who was their center? I think a young Tree Rollins was there. I saw that. But the starting center was a white guy, John Koncak.
Oh,
it was Dominique Wilkins and John Koncak. That's it. That was all they had. That's it. I think they had a couple other guys that might have had a couple splashes and a couple like good seasons, but for the most part, they did not do Dominique any favors in Atlanta. I blame Ted Turner, just like I blame him for WCW somehow. I blame
Billionaire Ted.
It's all his fault. I'm putting it out there. But yeah, you're right. I think the one ring for a lot of guys in NBA is enough, and they're like, whatever. I think, because Bruce is not on board with the Jalen Brunson love and the sacrifice that Jalen Brunson made, because that's what he did. He's like, I'm gonna get money either way. I don't need the biggest house. I got a little condo, 2 bedrooms, and I'm straight.
Jalen Brunson gets one ring. It's worth like 4 rings in other situations. He gets one for New York. He's a made man.
And listen, Draymond Green said it last week. He's like, the Knicks this year is going to be a team that you do not want to see. at all, because you know damn well they're like, yo, we're going hard every night because we want this. We want to win. And not just for them, but you see it, and I thought I would never say this in my lifetime. Those players really love Tibbs. It is weird.
I think 1 to 12, no one has a bad thing to say about Tibbs.
No.
Is Tibbs the new Tom Coughlin?
Yes. Tibbs is kind of loose. Tibbs hasn't loosened up because he's still playing his guys 42 minutes a game, but they still love him. Here, so Bruce's point, Jordan had bad players too.
But Jordan demanded excellence out of those bad players.
But eventually the Bulls realized, okay, we're not going to win with Charles Oakley, right? Mm-hmm. We're not going to win with just Michael Jordan and Bill Cartwright. We need other guys. And I think that's what they kind of started figuring out. Okay, we got Jordan. They drafted Pippen. And then, they need Paxson. He's the shooter. Jordan kick it out when he needs to kick it out. Not a lot, but he'll kick it out to Paxson, who hit a 3. Cartwright is still serviceable. Good. Okay, we got that. All right, Stacey King gives us this. Right? Mm-hmm. Every piece of the Bulls had a role. Jordan, Pippen was your 2. That was your 2-headed monster. And then you had those ancillary pieces that were really good and had their roles. Later in the years, after the second 3P, you had Rodman, you had Kerr, Bill Wennington. They all had their roles, right? The Hawks didn't have that. The Hawks didn't have that idea. They just like, let's just get some dudes and play in the Omni. Like, okay, well, you're not doing it. So Jordan didn't have stars. He had Pippen. But they did such a good job. And Jerry Krause, as much as they hate him, as much as I hate him, and Reinsdorf, who I hate really a lot now with the White Sox, they kind of figured out, okay, what works around Mike? What does Mike need? And Mike might say, I need this, I need this, I need this. I need this for this. And Phil's probably kind of in on the conversations, even though Jerry Krause hated Phil Jackson. He was definitely in on it as well.
And I sense a family mafia style with the Knicks. I think everybody's on board. Everyone's on the same page from the front office down to the coaching staff. And as long as Dolan's worried about the Spear, shout out to UFC having their first event at the Spear this weekend. As long as Dolan's is being distracted, the Knicks will be fine.
Yeah, just stay distracted. Just keep going to Vegas and hit up the Sphere and keep your lawsuit with the NBA going. That'll keep you busy. Our last topic tonight is college, and it's weird. We talk about conference realignment often on this show since we started this podcast. And the one conference that has been decimated with all this realignment was the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is weird because obviously the Pac-12, those games start at 10, 11 o'clock at night. I'm not staying up to watch a Pac-12 game on a Thursday night. I got a job and shit.
Yep.
But those Saturday night Pac-12 games were sick. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, Pac-12 at the dark. You see USC, you see UCLA, you see Oregon. Conference decimated. The Pac-12 literally has 2 teams in it right now, and they don't even really count. There's Oregon State and it's Washington State. They had a scheduling agreement with the Mountain West just so their teams can play other teams because they have no conference. So the Pac-12 is not a Pac-2. And we have this weird scheduling agreement with the Mountain West. And let's go into the season. This morning announced the Pac-2 will add Boise State, San Diego State, Colorado State, and Fresno State. So now the Pac-2 is the Pac-6 with more to come.
More to come. That's the key word right there. More to come.
My question to you, and obviously the Pac-12 is just like whatever. Like no one really cares about Pac-12. But how important is something like this to a smaller conference like the Mountain West in the Pac-12? The Pac-12 is no longer a big conference. It's the Conference of Champions, yes. The name still lives because Oregon State and Washington State has it. They own that name now. How big would this be if the Pac-12 were able to kind of say, Mountain West, we got the name, we got the cachet. Fuck the Mountain West. Come to the Pac-12.
I think it'll be pretty huge for them. Like if they try to resurrect that conference and somehow become the ACC of the West. That's why I see the Pac-12 heading. And I think if they could do that with the Mountain Conference, I think they could come together. I think that'd be best business. And quick about the Pac-12, I'm looking to get tickets for that UCLA Rutgers game. As crazy as that sounds, I want to be in there for that game. And what also sucks for Rutgers that after they play UC at home, they got to go to Southern California to play the Trojans the following week.
Just hearing you say UCLA versus Rutgers make my head hurt. Because it makes no damn sense. It still makes no sense of like, I don't know if, I'm a Penn State guy, so I watch a lot of Big Ten Network. And every year the Big Ten has like that map, and they flip through the map and point out all the schools. The schools pop out a map.
Oh, that map's looking crazy this year.
It's the craziest shit. Because like the map is like USC, UCLA, Oregon. What was the other team? Oh, what was the other the fourth team? Oregon, UCLA, USC, Washington. So the map is all over here, and then all of a sudden it just shoots to like Illinois. I'm like, holy shit. I don't get this.
Yep.
But I could see, and obviously the Mountain West is not, besides Boise State, there's not like a team in the Mountain West that's like, oh shit, cool.
Right.
But you get a legitimate regional conference like we had last year with all these other conferences. Mm-hmm. That could be big. And the West Coast they got their own shit going on over there. I think that needs to happen. You need to show that, hey, we don't have to move across the country. We can have a good conference in our backyard and just in this one strip of the country and just kill it. So I think this is really important to prove a point to the ACC, and the Big Ten has those teams travel back and forth from Stanford, SMU, and Oregon. Hey, we got San Diego State, we got Oregon State, we got Washington State, and we're right here. Yep. We're a couple hours away from each other. I think it's a huge, huge thing, and I think the Mountain West has got to kind of say, you know what, the Mountain West name doesn't really mean anything.
Nope.
That Pac-12 name still has some resonance somewhere.
Yep. Time to resurrect the Pac-12.
Let's go. Resurrection happening. That's our show. Not gonna lie to you. I said before, Jason, it's been a slow-ass week in news. It has been a really slow week, but you know what other news we got? What other news we're gonna put out there? Armchair, Bruce Morrow. Premieres Wednesday night, 8 p.m. on the One Podcast Network. It is happening. Bruce gets his own show. He can spread his propaganda every single Wednesday night here on the One Podcast Network on YouTube. It's going to be cool. Bruce has an intro. I finished his intro last night. I'm not going to show it to him until the night of the show. When the show starts, he will see his official intro. He knows what the song is, but I'm not going to show him the intro yet. And he is not going to be Shannon Sharp. Don't do that. Don't do that on YouTube. That'll kill this channel. That will kill that will kill this channel, and we won't have no channel. But Armchair with Bruce starts Wednesday night, 8 p.m. right here. So tune in. It is Bruce. It is his people. He gets some guests. It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to helping him out with it. But Wednesday night, 8 p.m. We got another show here finally on this channel.
Congrats, Bruce.
I'm hyped about it, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll be back next Thursday. Hopefully, something happens between now and next Thursday because it is dead as hell right now in basketball.
Well, camps are going to open up soon. So.
They're going to open up soon because, honestly, obviously WNBA is holding us down.
Right.
But like, can I get a crime? Can I get a pullover? Can I get something? A paternity suit, something. Give us something to work with, NBA players. Like, we need some news here. We are dying. Give us some news. So we'll be back next Thursday at 8 p.m. Our chairing starts Wednesday. So back-to-back nights here on the One Podcast Network. For Jason, I'm Kahlil. We'll see you next Thursday night. Peace.
This has been The Box Out with Kahlil Thomas and Jason Cordner. Subscribe now for the best tri-state area basketball talk.